If I could help you with just one mindset rule, this would be it. And let me tell you, mindset is the work of our time. Think about this. We live in a time where there's endless possibilities. We see all the time about new innovations, new companies, new products, amazing digital marketers, right? Kids making millions of dollars unboxing toys. There is nothing but opportunity before us. But this one thing could be holding you back because I talked to hundreds of women over the last couple of years, and it's a biggie. It's limiting beliefs. What is a limiting belief? So, a limiting belief is something where you are putting guardrails on yourself. You're saying things like, oh, I could never get that job, or we would never be able to spend that much on a house, or anything that puts a ceiling on what you can achieve. And I know people who are really stuck in this world, right? Who live in this space, who are always negative, and they may even think they're being positive. I really love fruit. I just could never afford to buy it regularly. So I try not to eat a lot. What? We can figure out a life where you get to eat the amount of fruit you want to eat. Let's talk if that is your barrier, right? So, how do we manage that? If you're someone who struggles with limiting beliefs, and I think honestly, that's all of us, I think unlocking that one skill of kicking those limiting beliefs to the curb will transform your life for a lot of different ways. And the first way to do that is really self reflect and get honest with yourself. What are your limiting beliefs about yourself? What are your limiting beliefs about your life? What are the things that you hear yourself saying frequently that you might need to start to regulate? And once you start listening for it, you'll be stunned by how often you hear it. One of my favorite things that my best friend and I do is anytime one of us says something like that, like, oh, I could never do that. The other one will say, wow, that's going to take a lot of hard work and determination, and I'm cut out for both of those. So if I want to achieve that, I know I can, right? We rephrase things for each other because even in the highest of performers, you're going to see limiting beliefs come into play unless they are strong with that mindset game. So when you reflect on what's going on, make notes, right? Take note like, huh, I didn't realize I was doing that to myself because our brain listens to us when we think. And if you feed it limiting beliefs, that's where it will live. And we want to live an unlimited life. The next thing that you're going to want to do is challenge those negative thoughts. And this is where hard work comes in because you don't have a limiting thought, you have a limiting belief. And that's a toughie to kind of get past sometimes. It's not just a switch you throw or a book you read, it's a constant practice. And that's why it's something that we work on consistently in the midlife mentorship because you need support. You need someone saying, giving you that reflection back, right? And saying, you just called yourself stupid. There's no way I'm standing still for that. You are one of the smartest people I know. How do I know you're one of the smartest people I know? Let me give you 3 examples of where you were brilliant, right? So when you challenge that negative thought, the first thing I want you to do is think, is this a feeling or is this a fact? And 98% of the time, it's a feeling or a fact that's been misinterpreted or misunderstood. Maybe you might have a limiting belief that says, I'm just not good enough to achieve my goals. I'm never going to be able to do it. I just can't. That's not who I am. First of all, ask, okay, are you at a low moment? Are you just getting overwhelmed by the earth and the planet and the politics and the crap and the bills and the health and the endless stuff that's coming at you? And so you just feel like giving up? Or could you rephrase and say to yourself, I have the skills and determinations to achieve my goals. It's that simple. I have the skills and the determinations to reach my goals. And then you will. That's the cool part about banishing these limiting beliefs. It really starts to seep into your unconscious and it starts to become a conscious practice. I want you to think about, like, for example, if you're a mom and you never noticed a pregnant woman your whole live long life, really, until you got pregnant. And then you saw pregnant women everywhere. That's the difference between a limiting belief. You'll always see that you're limited. You'll always believe you're limited. You'll see limitations everywhere versus you come into an awareness of something. Like suddenly you're like, oh my God, I'm pregnant. And now I look everywhere and I see more pregnant women all over the place. Or maybe you go to buy a red car And now you see red cars all over the place. Once our unconscious brings this information into our consciousness, it's like a magnet. It's like a switch gets thrown, and all of a sudden you start seeing opportunity. You start seeing yourself as skilled and determined to reach your goals. I would also recommend that you seek support. Like I said, this is a hard thing to do on your own. And so if you're someone who really struggles with limiting beliefs, make sure that you engage your partner, your best friend, your family in the practice of using positive self talk, right? Words are powerful, thoughts are even more powerful. And so the more we say these positive things, the more we believe them and the more we start taking actions towards them, which is where the trick really comes in, right? Then I want you to be continuously learning. When our hearts are open and our minds are busy, that's when our limiting beliefs start to melt away because we know they're not true. For example, if you've been following along with me for a while, my OGs will remember when my dad does ham radio, and I mean does ham radio. He's an amazing CW operator with Morse code, and I wanted to be able to talk to him as a ham radio operator, so I had to pass 2 tests to do it. This is not my wheelhouse. That's not a limiting belief. That's a fact. This is not my wheelhouse. It's not what I'm used to. It's not an area I'm familiar with. But what I knew is I can learn anything. I can pass any test. And so I did. It was not easy. If you were here for it, it wasn't pretty, but I did that. And when I did it, man, it reminded me I'm smart. I can do hard things. And so are you. Think of a time when you're like, in high school, I could do this and that and the other. In college, I did this, that, and the other. Last week, I was able to do this or that. Shout out for yourself and ask your friends and family and mentors to do the same. Join Midlife Mentorship, and we're going to cheer you on in there because the first thing we do is work on setting those goals and getting the language around those goals so powerful that it's inevitable. It's pretty cool. Then I want you to think about just practicing some self-compassion. Be nicer to yourself. I have to tell you, in a lot of the mentorship groups that I'm in, because coaches need coaches and mentors need mentors, that's the number one thing I see and hear that my mentors are supporting us with, is women in particular saying, I just feel stupid when I try to do that. I'm not good at that. And I'm like, babe, you've never done it before. You're learning. Of course, you're not an expert right when you start. Look, I'm still figuring out lots of things in my life, and I bet you are too. But get with a group of people who are doing that on the regular. Get with a group of people who are hopeful, inspired, positive, kicking limiting beliefs to the curb, calling out our limitations and calling in our blessings, because that's what this year should be for you. It is time to call in your blessings and kick this BS of limitations to the curb. So, one of the things that can really help with that, right, especially if you're in that transition of midlife, is pursue new careers. Do something entrepreneurial, even if it's a side gig and you're only spending a few hours a week. It opens you up. Maybe you want to reignite your passions for a hobby. I've been wanting to get back into cross stitching again lately. I follow Sharon Says So, and she's been doing some beautiful needlework. And I'm like, why did I ever stop that? I'm going to get back to working on that. Build stronger, authentic relationships. Every day, I write 10 things in my gratitude journal as if they are real. And one of the things I commit to every single month is deeply connecting with friends and family because it feeds my soul. It lets me know how they're doing. It keys me into what is going on in their life. And there is nothing I value more than our relationships, right? And so digging in and saying, I'm committing myself to spending time doing that. And then work on enhancing your overall well-being. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, man, if I just felt better, I might be able to do that. Or if I was just healthier, I might be able to do that. Let's talk, because I can get you where you want to go with your health and with your goals. It's what I do. And how did I learn how to do that? I had to do it for myself. I've spent 8 years as an entrepreneur navigating out in these streets and figuring out what are the key elements that you can shift, that may be small, that may be mighty, that'll make the biggest difference for you. And I'm telling you right now, the biggest thing for you to switch in terms of your mindset is simply eliminating limiting beliefs. If you do that one thing, it's going to change your life. It's powerful, and that's what you deserve. So I would love to hear what limiting beliefs you're kicking to the curb, and I'll be there to support you while you do so. Thank you for being here. I love that you're here at Live About 5. I'm Amy, and I can't wait to see you back here tomorrow night.